Hi everyone. Today we are going to start with the Linux basics. For DevOps or any deployments in companies, right? Usually in production where we deploy our applications. Usually we deploy our applications on Linux servers itself. We used to deploy some applications on Windows also, but morely 90% of the applications are actually deployed on Linux servers. Okay, so Linux is very important actually. It is also kind of a building block for DevOps, maybe not only DevOps, also for the cloud. Okay, for any path you are choosing, right? Linux is a must. So Linux is a operating system and it has various distributions in Linux. Okay, we have Linux is an operating system and it has various distributions. CentOS, Ubuntu, Red Hat, Fedora. Okay, as well, now we are using Linux AMI, right? This is from Amazon itself. Okay, so Amazon Linux. Okay, now call it this is Amazon Linux. So what we'll be actually doing with the Linux? Actually, so you're already experienced with the operating system, that is Windows. So in Windows, actually, you don't need any commands or any syntax. You should need to use. Actually, you can just, you have a GUI, a graphical user interface. You can just navigate with the help of GUI. But here, coming to the Linux, you don't have any user interface. Only you have a command line. You don't have a user interface, and everything you need to operate using Linux commands. But most of the operations, like what we are doing, we already did it in uh, Windows operating system. It's just we need to know how is this is done here over here in the Linux. Okay, so let me show this. This is my uh, Windows operating system. So here I'm able to navigate right here and there. So on operating system, what are the major things? Like, can you tell me like what I've been doing with the Windows operating system? Any tasks, whatever we do with the Windows?
We used to create folders, files.
Yes, yes, perfect, correct. Yeah, create folders, create files, okay, and also uh, navigation.
Navigation, upload, download.
Yes, yes. Upload.
Paste, yeah. And search.
Yes, yes. Okay, so these are the like common, I mean, basic things that we do in our day-to-day life while we use a Windows operating system. It's the same thing actually. Again, we do with the Linux operating system. Only the difference is we don't have an user interface here. Everything we do it through command line. Here, see, and also one difference if you see, right? So these are my folders here. If I get inside a folder, okay, I'm able to see all whatever is there here. I'm able to see. So in Linux, actually, will not be able to see this. As soon as we switch to a directory, right? We won't be able to see. Again, to see there, again we have some commands. But see here, navigation, how we are doing. See, I can go back. Again, I can go forward. I can go back. Then I can go switch again to the other directory. Okay, I can see the files in the directory. Okay, so yeah, these are the commands. So usually just think Linux is another operating system, but why we are using Linux? Because all the applications that we are going to deploy should be deployed on a Linux operating system. That's the reason everyone uses Linux. And still there are jobs on with Linux, like Linux admin and all. There are many jobs now. It's like everything is being considered as a DevOps, but still there are like jobs specifically to Linux. If someone has particular interest towards Linux, Yeah, they still work on only Linux. So Linux, learning Linux, you can work on Linux itself, or you can work as a DevOps engineer, you can work as a cloud engineer. So definitely learning Linux will be a lot of beneficial for you. And whatever the operations we do, right, you just consider like whatever the activities you are doing on the Windows operating system, the same activities will be doing here, but we need to know how it is done over in the Linux. Okay, so we'll start from few of the commands. So first we'll start with the ls command. Okay, what ls does is it will list the files in my current directory. Okay, current, I don't have anything over here. Let me create some files here. So touch is a command we use for creation of files. So this is the syntax, and we can create multiple files also. Okay, at a time, like touch file 1, file 2, file 3, file 4. If I do ls, it will list whatever the files that are present in my current directory now. See, I'm able to see 4 files now. Let me make this content a bit larger. So ls is a command we use for listing of the files, but the difference with the Windows, right? Uh, Here you don't do anything like ls. You just switch to a particular directory, and whatever you have it in the current directory is visible here. Okay, if I'm going to attachments, I'm not seeing again I'm not using ls. Directly it is visible because I am having user interface here. So that is how it was designed. But here upon switching to the directories also, I don't be able to see unless I enter ls command. Only then I'll be able to see the contents, whatever that is present here. Okay. Let me create one more file, test file called test. The file name is test. So we're able to see all of these files. Now let me put some content inside the file. So this is the one way to create a file. I told, right, text command is used for creation of files. There are other ways also. We can use vi editor to create a file. Vi my file. When you do vi my file, what happens is I'm asking the vi editor to open my file. Then it checks actually if the my file is existing on your system. If it doesn't exist, right, my file doesn't exist, create a file and open it in the editor. So this is VI editor. Okay. So this is one way of creating a file. Okay. Using Touch also I created a file. Again using VI also I can create a file. Okay. If the file doesn't exist, it will actually create a file and open it in the editor. If the file is existing, it will just open in the editor. Okay. Let me do this again. VI my file. So since you see, right, what are the files that I do have as of now? Only have these things. So I don't have anything like called my file. So I am giving it as vi my file. So since the file doesn't exist, it has created a file and it has opened in the editor. So I told you, right, in the editor, actually, as soon as I come into the editor, I'll not be able to do anything here. Okay. So in order to do that, I need to enter in I symbol here. I mean, I need to hit the I letter on my keyboard. So that will give you this insert prompt. Only when you are having this insert prompt on your editor, you'll be able to enter any text. Before that, you'll not be able to enter anything here. So this is a VMI file, and okay. I added some content here, and now to change this, what I need to do is first I need to enter escape. I need to go to the escape mode to save the contents of the file in V editor. Okay, so I want to have added some content in the file editor, and now I need to save this. So the first thing I need to do is enter escape. So now it is in the escape mode, and then I need to enter shift colon here at a time. Shift colon. If I enter here, right, you're able to see colon here. Then you need to enter WQ exclamatory. This means it saves the content and exits the editor. So this is what happened. So these are the steps. Okay. Go to the escape mode, enable enter escape in your keypad, and then enter shift plus colon. Then enter WQ exclamatory. This would save the content written in file and exits. So these are the three things you need to do. And after this, actually to enable the insert mode, you need to enter set VI editor. Okay, enter I on your keypad. Okay, then add some content. After adding to save the content of the file in the editor, you need to have escape. To save that, you need to go to the escape enable. I mean, you need to enter escape, then shift colon and WQ exclamatory. Okay, so this is how we create. Now let me see. If I'm doing ls, right, I'm able to see all these files, my file and all. Now actually we use ls -lrt. Actually, we use actually instead of ls, we can do ls, but ls hyphen l also we can do. Okay. What does this give? ls hyphen l will give a long information about these files. It will give more information like when were these files created, what is the size of the file, because these files are empty, right? The file 1, file 2, file 3 what we have created, there is no content in these files. That's the reason the size is 0. And these files are owned by root. Okay, these are the permissions I'll discuss later. But yeah, you can see more information when you give ls hyphen l. Again, when I give ls hyphen lr, okay, I can give ls hyphen lrt also. So what happens if I give this command? Mainly, if you see, right, based on the timing actually, you were able to see the time here 145, 145, because all these files were created at a time. So based on the time, actually, I'm getting the recent files what I have created at a later point of time. I'm able to see here. But when I did ls-l, ls-lr, so it was like randomly it was showing the files. Okay, this file was created at 146. Now this file was created at 1451. All these were created at 145. But when I give ls-lrt, it is showing all the list of the files uh, in the order and also based on the time. So the recently created files are here because always we work on the command prompt here, right? So it is very easy for us to see here.
Sorry, Nagendra. You see the command ls-l. I think they are in chronological order. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing, but is it true or it's just a random order?
Which one?
ls-l, ls-l command.
So
Does it
ls-l
does it give
command,
chronological order or it's just some random order based on the name of the file?
yeah, based on the name of the files you do get. Other than that, you won't get any information. I mean,
Yeah. Okay.
based on the time and all, you won't get it.
Okay. I just want to
Uh,
confirm. I'm not
yeah,
sure whether it's right or
yeah,
not.
yeah, we get that based on the files. Yes,
File names,
but
right? Okay.
but based on the modification and all, right? See, now this
Yes.
was the latest file. Okay, when
Yeah,
I
I got it.
when I do LSIF and LRT, I get the latest file here. So let me do some modification to a particular file now. I'll actually use vi file 4. Okay. Okay, so the first, as soon as switch I to editor, I need to go to the insert mode, and then I need to enter some text over here. Okay, so I'm having my file 4 here now because this was recently modified. Okay, so whenever we enter ls, we just don't enter ls because we don't get much information about it. We just give ls hyphen lrt. Okay, if I can also give ls hyphen lt. So if I'm giving this way, right, what's happening is the recently created files, the recently created or recently modified, are on the top actually. If you see, they're from the They're starting from the recently modified, but I don't want to have it here because my command prompt always we work from here, right? I just want to see like from here. So that is the reason we give ls hyphen lrt. Okay, you got the difference, right? Like what if you are using with only ls, we are just listing the files. Then if you are using ls hyphen lt, you get the entire information based on the time, actually recently created time. But we actually wanted recently created files to be available from here, because why we are giving this is because when you are having so many files, right? So right now I'm having 6 files. So when we are having enough number of files, we need to come from top. So but I don't need many files to go through, so I need to come from top and find. But if I just give ls and ls hyphen lrt, right, I can just see the for recently modified files here itself. You got it, right? By giving ls hyphen r, we are just reversing that order so that the recently modified files are here. Okay, so this is about ls command, and so ls is all about listing the files. So it will list out whatever the files or directories that are there in our current directory. Okay, so that is done. Now what we do is, uh, so whatever we have seen right now, we used to creation of files. So this is a creation of files. We use touch command and also va command, and then saved it. And also later we use ls command. Okay. In ls you can try just ls hyphen l or ls hyphen lr, ls hyphen just play with this commands, you'll be getting it. So next, so we are done with creation of files. Next we'll go for creation of directories.
Mahendra, one question actually.
Okay.
So in Linux, so say for example in Windows, if we are creating a folder or a file, we are able to see it on the desktop.
Yes, yes.
So in Linux, if we are creating this file 1, file 2, file 3,
Mhm.
where is it going to get saved? Is it only be in this putty, or how where it is actually saved?
Yeah, it is right here, right now. I mean, like, see, that I will show. The next command will be getting clarity. Okay,
Okay.
just okay. I'll go with that command only. Okay, so we have a command in Linux called pwd. Okay, pwd means present working directory. So, anyways, no need of any explanation for this because it's in plain English, present working directory, which that is what it denotes. So, let me come in and enter pwd. Okay. So, where I am actually in my home, I'm in ec2-user. Okay. So, this is a path where I am actually, and this is where the content is. If you see ls slash, okay, so in this path I'm actually doing the list. So in this path what I do have all of this. So wherever you are, check the directory which you are in. Okay, and since we are in a uct, since we are using ec2 user, all users will have their under a particular called home directory. Okay, so we are in this directory, and any content that I'm creating, right, is coming here itself. Okay, so you need to okay, there are files here, right? When you do ls, there are files here. Okay, you need to check the path in which directory they are, and you can use pwd, present working directory. And pwd is very important, actually. I mean, very important uh, command. Actually, it helps you to understand where you are in the linux, because in the windows we know where we are actually. Okay, with which folder or which path we are, but here uh, until unless you use pwd, we won't know where we are. So this comes handy in case of we are actually want to create some files or delete some files, right? So we need to make sure whether we are in the right directory, or the right directory to create the files, or right directory to delete the files. So we can actually validate using the pwd command in which directory we are. Okay, so now let's go with the creation of directories, and the command is called mkdir directory name. Okay, this is the syntax. Okay, to create a directory, this is the syntax: mkdir and directory name. Mkdir aws. Now if you do ls, you are able to see the directory actually comes with blue color in most of the servers. This is how we can differentiate. There is let's create one more mkdir azure. I'm creating one more directory. Let me do ls. So these are kind of folders, and these are files. Okay, what we have did are these are files, and these are folders. How do we come to know using this actually comes in the blue color, but other than also we can actually identify whether it's a which one is a directory and which one is a file. Okay, so if you come here, if you're doing ls-lrt, right, for the files, actually, if you see, right, it doesn't start with anything here. It's empty. The first letter what it is starting with, right, it is empty, just hyphen it is. So whenever it is starting with just hyphen, it is a file. But for directories, if you see, right, it is start getting appended with a letter called D here. So this is actually a directory. Anyways, we know I said like here, this gets some color here so that it is identified as a directory. But still, you can see and confirm here, like it is getting appended with a D. So, but for files and all, I don't have anything here. So these are only files, which means that these are actually folders. So directories are our folders. Files are whatever we are creating inside this, right? These are the files.
Mahendra?
Yeah, yes, tell me.
Yeah, so mkdir means we'll be creating folder, right? That is a command.
Yes, yes. So here
Uh,
we don't call it as folder, just for naming convention, we call it just as a directory. That's it.
okay, I have two questions in this.
Okay,
One is I don't know, it's a silly question.
no
Uh,
problem. Tell me.
so it is highlighting in a different color, right? Maybe blue or something.
Yes, yes.
What if we have already chosen our command to be in blue color? Will it highlight in a different color? The folder?
Yeah, I think we need to change some settings, I guess. I'm not sure how that can be done.
Because
Uh,
for our currently you're typing in white color, right? So there is a possibility that we can change the color and type it like in blue color itself. We can change and type.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that is what. Just with the color, we can't actually I mean identify it. So that's the reason we get to know here, right? Like,
Okay.
so this is how we actually see. But see, because here it is showing rest of the operating systems it might show in other colors. Okay,
Yeah.
but still it gives you a variation so that you are able to differentiate between the files and directories, because more than files and directories we don't have anything, right, in our operating system, Linux operating system. So by default I'm getting this color. I think this can be changed. I don't know the settings, so maybe I'll check and come back.
Okay.
uh,
And one more question, Nagendra. So now
hmm,
we have created a directory called AWS or
hmm.
AWS Azure.
Yes, yes.
And we have different file names, yeah, file 1, file 2.
Yeah, yeah.
So say for example, if we want to create a file inside a directory, like we want to go into the directory and create a file, how can we do it?
Yes, yes, we can do. Yeah, that is what right we do. Because like see in Linux, in Windows, you are able to do that, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
creating a AWS folder or something here, the document section, AWS.
Yeah.
I'm getting inside it and create a file, something, some file. Okay. So this is how we are creating. Let's do the same thing over here. Okay, now I have created directories. Okay, you know the command. Command is mkdir is the command. And now how do I get inside the directory? Here I was just able to just click on it. That's it. Okay, I created AWS directory here. I just okay, here it is here. Okay, so I just clicked on the directory and I'm inside this directory. If you see, right, I mean Windows, it's very easy. But here we can't get inside like that. But we have a command here to get inside the directory. That command is called cd. Cd means change directory. Okay, this is pwd. This is mkdir. This is change directory. Okay, for I'll those are syntax will be this way: cd and the directory name. Okay, and this directory can be like cd aws. If I want to get inside the directory, right, aws directory I have created, I need to do cd, which means the change directory to aws. Got it? So here we specify the directory which we want to get in. Change directory, whatever directory we give here, it will go into the directory now. Okay, I have two directories, cd space aws. Okay, this will take me to the change directory, aws. So now I'm in AWS. How do I confirm? Just before I said you a command, like how do we confirm where we are in our path?
PWD.
Yes, yes, exactly. We use PWD to see where we are actually now. So in Om, I have an EC2 user. Under that, I have created a AWS directory here where I am. Okay, if I do ls here in the directory, I don't have anything. So there is no content or anything, any file or any text that is created over here. So let me create a file here now. Yes. So I'm creating a file called ec2.txt in AWS. Now if I do ls, it will show me this file here now. So it will show the time and all when it was created. Okay. So ec2.txt. Now let's look at one more command. Um, I've been telling right yesterday also there is a command called cat. What does is it displays the contents of the file. Okay. So cat file name is the syntax. So now I have a file here. Let me check with the cat command if I'm able to get any output here. Cat ec2.txt. Okay. So I don't have anything, right? I just created a file. It was an empty file. I don't have any content inside it. To get inside the file, I mean, if I want to add something to this file, what I need to do, I can use VI editor and open this file, right?
Yeah, editor. Yeah.
Yeah, VI editor. Because the file is already there, I'll use editor to add some content to this. Okay, vi file, the file is already existing. I'm just opening with the vi editor. Now I give the insert mode here. Now we were able to see the insert option. Then I'll add some text. Okay, this was easy to write. Actually, in EC2 instances, we have three types of instances. One is on-demand instance. Okay. One is reserved instance, and one we have spot instance. Okay. So in order the on-demand instances are right now whatever we are launching, right? We are creating an instance. So that are on demand actually. We are right now whatever it is required by during that time we are launching the server and stopping it whenever it is not required or terminating it. There are another types of servers called reserved actually. Reserved means so in a company, right, we are going to use this EC2 instances for a over period of time, for a long duration of time, like because our projects will be at least minimum for running for 10 years or 8 years in the next coming uh, timeline. So so I make an agreement with the AWS saying that I'm going to use these instances for the next 5 years or next 3 years, so that I'll make an agreement with the AWS. So if I'm giving an assurance that I'll be using for the next 2 months or next 2 years or 3 years, right? AWS will give me a different pricing plan for my instances. It is almost like 50% lesser than the actually on-demand instances. Because why they are giving that is I am also assuring that for the next 2 or 3 years I am going to use. So the billing they are getting is for next 2 to 3 years or next 5 years, next 8 years. So this is what reserved instances we have, and one there is other instance called spot instance. Spot instance means we can launch any EC2 instance using as a spot. For spot instances, there is a bid actually. There is a certain price that is being actually applied during a particular time, and the spot instances price keeps on varying actually. So right now I have used a spot instance like at 0.10 cents, uh, $0.10, and after a certain time, right, the demand is increasing, like everyone is using spot instance. So we are going for 0.20, 0.30, so 0.40. As soon as I actually launched an EC2 spot instance at a lower price, so no one were using spot instances in that time. So I actually was able to launch the price. The price was just 0.10. I have launched an instance, and as soon as the users are increasingly using the spot instance, right, automatically the price gets varied and it moves to 0.20. As soon as I get this price, right, my instance gets terminated here. This spot instance gets terminated because the price, that instances is no longer available for that price. Here again, so the next people who are using spot instance will be able to use spot instance for this particular time. So actually, who uses this spot instance? We don't use the spot instances because it gets terminated as soon as the price increases. But in companies and all enterprise companies, we want to be continuously running the servers, right? We don't do this. But people who do some research work and they want to do some processing works and all, right, they need some computations power, like for machine learning and all, they need some a large number of machines to process the workloads. So they use these spot instances mainly for research work or assignments work. So usually if you see when this would be cheaper is like in the Friday nights or early mornings of Saturday. So no one will be working much on this, right? So the price of these spot instances are much cheaper during that time. But the in companies, they use reserved instances or on-demand instances. So reserved, you actually make an agreement prior with the AWS before proceeding with the account, so that you'll get a discount. And in reserved, again, you have types of options. Like for the 2 years, if you're going to pay right now upfront, the cost becomes even much lower. Like I don't think it comes to overall by 40% of the cost you need to pay. That's it. If you're going ahead to pay for next 2 years, but you can pay after use also. So for that again, you have a different price. So anyways, I got this chance here. I told about this. You remember that there are 2 to 3 types of instance: on demand, reserved, and spot. So just I'm saving this content here in this file. I'm doing ls and I have a file now. I want to see the contents of the file. What was added in ec2.txt. Cat ec2.txt. See, now I'm able to see these contents, whatever I have in my file. Okay. Now I'm in this directory, right? If I want to go to my EC2 user, the command is cd space dot dot. So this will take me to the previous directory where I was actually. If you see, I came to see EC2 user. If I do pwd, here I am. If you do ls, so this is where actually all the directories are there. So previously what I did was I actually went into the, yes, switch to the AWS directory. How I did: cd space AWS, got inside the directory. Then I created a file inside the directory called techaws.txt. Sorry, techaec2.txt. And I wanted to add some contents in the file. So using veditor, I have opened that file and added some content inside that, and came out came out. And also from the directory also I switched back to previous directory. Those, so the command is cd space dot dot. Cd space dot dot let you previous directory. Okay, so let's create another directory now again. So mkdir gcp is nothing but Google Cloud Platform. So if I do ls, I have all these directories. Okay, now let me see actually if I can create directories inside a directory. Okay, mkdir. Let me create IBM Cloud. Okay, in IBM Cloud, I want to create some IBM Kubernetes, something like that. IBM. I'm not aware of any services in IBM Cloud, but they also do have their cloud and they do have their Kubernetes and everything. Okay. So this cloud is also free, but we don't use much in the market. So because AWS and Azure are the leading cloud providers, right? So most of the opportunities we are associated with these two clouds. Okay, so I'm just creating a directory mkdir IBM Cloud. In IBM Cloud, I'm creating again IBM Kubernetes. Inside that, I'm creating IBM pods. If you see, it is throwing an error actually. Cannot create directory. No such file or directory. So if I'm giving this syntax right, it is actually checking whether this IBM Cloud is existing or not, because this is the parent directory, right? IBM Cloud. What it is assuming is there is something called as IBM Cloud. I am asking inside the IBM Cloud to create this directory, and inside the IBM Kubernetes, I am saying to create IBM pods. But since it doesn't find this IBM Cloud itself, it is throwing the error. So how can we overcome this situation? Is I can give mkdir -p and give the same things again, IBM Cloud, IBM Kubernetes / IBM pods. So now the directory got created because I specified -p, which means that if the parent directory is not there, create the directory and create the other directories inside it. But previously when I did mkdir command, right, it couldn't find the parent, and so that's the reason it showed that error. Cannot create directory, no such file or directories. Now if I do ls, I have IBM Cloud directory got created. I can switch to the IBM Cloud directory. Okay, cd IBM Cloud. Okay, here I am in IBM Cloud directory. So inside IBM Cloud, what is the other directory I have created? If you see here, right, this was created inside the IBM Cloud. That is IBM Kubernetes. So let me see if that is existing here. Okay, I do have IBM Kubernetes also. Now let me switch to IBM Kubernetes. How do we switch? Using cd command, cd and the directory name. Just give IBM and enter actually tab space tab. So it will give you the entire command, enter directory name. So cd Kubernetes, here I am. Now with this directory, what directory I'll be having in IBM Kubernetes? I should be having IBM pods also. So this is what it created. It created a directory called IBM Cloud. In IBM Cloud, it created a directory called IBM Kubernetes. Inside it, it created a another directory called IBM Pods. So let me see doing ls. So I have IBM Pods also. Okay, you got this right. I'm creating a directories recursively. Directory within a directory, and again inside this directory another directory. Got this? So the command I have used for creating recursive directories is mkdir -p. But previously we just created the mkdir directories. That's it. Mkdir is single directory. Mkdir Linux. If I give just a single directory will be created. But so this got created in where I am, because now right now I am in IBM Kubernetes, right? So Linux got created there. If I want to remove this directory, right, the command is now till now we have seen Santosh said, right, like whatever we are doing in Linux, Windows, creation of folders and all, again deletion also we do that. So let's delete here also. The command we use for deletion of folders is or directories is rmdir and the directory name. If I do ls, I don't have anything. Earlier I had IBM pods and Linux. Now I just have IBM pods. Okay. What is the command like I want to switch to the previous directory? Now, because see, if I do pwd, I'm in IBM Kubernetes. Let me also switch to IBM pods cd IBM pods. If I do pwd, here I am. So inside the home EC2 user, we were actually there. I created a directory called IBM Cloud. In IBM Cloud, I created one more directory called IBM Kubernetes. In IBM Kubernetes, I created one more called IBM Pods. Here, where I am currently. If I do the present working directory, that is what it is showing. So if I want to switch to previous directory, I told you a command, right? You remember? So this is the command. Yes, Kritika, correct. Yeah, we use cd space dot dot to switch to the previous directory. So here right now I'm in IBM pods directory. Uh, right now let me go a directory back. Cd, sorry, I've given wrong. Cd space dot dot. Okay. So now I have switched to a directory, a previous directory. Now if I do pwd, I'm in IBM Kubernetes. Initially I was on IBM pods. Okay. Now I have switched to IBM Kubernetes. Now let me go do again cd space cd dot dot. Now I am switching to directory called IBM Cloud. If I do pwd, here I am in IBM. Let me do cd space dot dot also. So okay, I'm in my EC2 user. Okay. And to help you see in a easier way, I'll show one way actually. There is a command called tree. You can install that. Install tree is how you download here. So in Windows and all, how you download, actually go to some browsers or click on something, right, to download. Here we use the package managers to install something on our Linux operating system. I want to have one utility called tree on my server, so I want to install that. Okay, I installed tree. Why I'm using tree? No, let me show you. So tree actually lists the directories. It will list. I mean, it will show the organization how we are organizing the files and directories here. So if you see right here, see these are the files here. Okay, so this is a directory actually. Azure is a directory I have created, and these are the files. And AWS is a directory I have created, and inside AWS I have one file. Okay, ec2.txt. And again I have created a directory called IBM Cloud, and within IBM Cloud I created one more directory called IBM Cloud Kubernetes, and within inside I created another thing called IBM Pods. Okay, now in Azure directory I didn't create anything. Let me add a file go in Azure also. Okay, so you can see here in Azure I don't have any file now. Like AWS I have ec2.txt. In Azure I don't have anything. So let me do something in Azure also. Let me go to the Azure, how I use cd space Azure. Okay, I'm switching to Azure directory now. If I do ls, I don't have anything, so it's everything empty. Let me create something called vm.txt. So in Azure we calls as VM instead of EC2. In AWS we are calling it as EC2. In Azure we call VMs. So I created a file now, vm.txt now. So let me get inside the editor. Okay, so here I am now in the Azure directory. If I do a pwd, I know where I am right now in the Azure. Let me switch back to the previous directory, cd space dot dot. Now here I am, ls. If I enter tree command right now, I can see the hierarchy of the files and folders, how it is there. So see, if you in Azure we have it is showing right inside the Azure we have a file called vm.txt. So this is how, if you are getting confused like what I said is mkdir -p recursively I'm creating right. If you are getting confused, you can see here how that was created. Let me create again one more thing, mkdir -p. So I'm creating a directory within country. I'm creating a directory called country initially. Inside this country, I'm creating another directory called India. In India, I'm creating another directory called Bangalore. Okay. So this is what I'm doing it, and it didn't throw me any error. So if I do ls right, the country directory will be there here. Okay. But let me do that tree command, and I can see what actually is happening here. So if you see right, a directory called country is created. That is what the first level of directories you are able to see here. Within the country, there is another directory India got created, and here another directory called Bangalore got created. Okay. So any doubts so far? Just practice these commands. I'll share you these commands, whatever we discussed, right? So just get familiar with these things. There are some other more commands to look at it. We'll see tomorrow. Okay, any doubts? So if we have, we can actually discuss.
Nagendra, I will not be available for tomorrow actually.
Okay, sure, sure.
So generally Friday is it's becoming a little hectic for me.
Okay.
Yeah. So what will be you be discussing tomorrow, Nagendra, just in case?
So tomorrow the commands I will be discussing are these commands. Wow. We're done with cat, mkdir, creation of directories, right? So I'll be discussing cp copy command, mv, and how to check the logs. There are some commands called head, tail, and about this package managers, m package manager and all. How to see these packages are installed or not in our server, and I'm having some package installed right now I've installed a package called install tree. If I want to remove that same tree command, right, I can use remove tree. So I don't want it no longer available in my system. So there we actually go to control plane and delete, right, in Windows, if you don't want any softwares that we install. Similar, yeah, this how we can install and manage. And how can we check the services? So it will be about the navigation only. Again, how to delete the files forcefully, and how to search the files. Okay. Other
Okay.
than this, after this, we use some commands called grep command, how can we use grep command like pattern matching? And there is a command called, like you said, right? Today when I asked what you do actually in Windows, you said you'll be searching. Okay, how we are searching here directly? We are using this console here, and using this command we are searching whatever we need. So in Linux, how we can search a particular file wherever it is? So I don't remember right now. I have created a file now in a particular. Right now I don't remember. Okay, right now I created a file called ec2.txt, but I don't remember where it is. So how can I search? We'll see all of these commands tomorrow. Okay. So grep command, if time permits, awk command also I will show tomorrow. And how should you check the CPU? How should you check the memory of the server? Okay. How to check the processes? How to kill the process and all this. Okay, Santosh, no problem. If you're having any doubts, also again we can see. Okay. Mm,
Okay, Naveen. Yeah, thank you.
yeah, sure. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.